Hi, good morning. I'm so excited to be here with you. So I've heard that most of you are visual communication student or graphic design student. Good choice. I studied graphic design and visual communication. So that was my degree. But today I'm going to talk to you about a very exciting program we are offering now at QT, which is Master of Strategic Design. And I'm going to tell you all about this today, and I'm going to make you do a bit of a strategic activity. So I'll start to introduce what this is. But before I do that, in Australia, we always acknowledge the traditional owners of our lands. And in Australia, the lands that QUT stand on are owned by the Turrbal and Yugara people. They're the First Nations people of Australia. And we acknowledge that they have always used those places for teaching and learning purposes.
Các em ở dưới có nghe được không? Cô có phải dùng mic không? I think better
On mic.
Hello.
Okay, is that better? Okay. Woo. Okay, good. So yes, today I'm going to tell you about strategic design. And this is a really exciting new offering pretty much in all of Australia. We're the first one to offer this degree, which is a Master of Strategic Design. And also we're developing an undergraduate degree in this because it is really the future focus of design profession. So just one day ago, I came to you from Singapore. So I was in Singapore for Singapore Design Week. We were leading workshop there. And all of the people at our workshop and also everyone at Design Week is talking about this area, strategic design. This is the future of design. And if you want to future-proof your career choice, you should do this degree because over in Singapore, they're looking for more and more like designer to come into organizations that you don't think designer needs, but definitely needs. So things like healthcare design, things like banking design. So these are the leaders of the future, designers that can see the whole picture. So I'm going to talk to you about what strategic design is. I'm going to also talk to you about being a strategic leader. And you might think, I'm just a student now, I'm not a leader, but you are all leading in your own way. And I'm going to show you how that is in the activity that we're going to do later. And then also, I'm going to give you some of the key skills you need to be a strategic leader. Some of the design processes and principles. You may already know some because you're design students, but I'm going to just talk to you about how we combine them all together in our courses at QUT and how we give you that foundation. And then I'll talk about some of the projects that we do at QUT in this space, and I will talk to you about the employment options and opportunities that our students have gotten since they finished this degree. Okay? So these are some sort of high-level definition of strategic design. But basically, it's taking what you learn as a designer, the design skills and theories, and applying it to a whole system. So systems thinking. So I use the example of healthcare. So a lot of doctors think, why do we need a designer to help us with anything? Or a doctor, I'm super important, I'm saving the world, curing disease. But in a healthcare system, there's a lot of problems. So every country's healthcare system is suffering with a lot of older people going through the healthcare system, under-resourcing, use of lots of environmental resources, like a lot of water goes into hospital, a lot of single-use plastics. So in order to solve those problems, the doctors themselves don't have the time to solve those problems, nor do the nurses, nor do the people working in the wards. So as a designer, we come in and we help them think about things in a new way using the design process, because some of these problems are very big and complex. So we try to bring together all the different parties in the same room, and we also think about the patient experience. So not just about it's efficient, you're gonna cure their disease, or you're gonna give them the right medicine. It's about how do they feel when that's happening to them? How do you take away some of the fear? How do you make the experience better? Not just for the patient, but the doctor, the nurse, everyone involved. So the designer has a huge role in thinking about that. And I'll go over why we're so good at doing this as designers and how we use our design skills in this way, but how it's not often apparent to those industries. So in this area of strategic design, we're telling them, we're the ones that connect the dots to make the whole thing better, make the whole experience better. So to be a strategic designer that works with this type of ecosystem, you need to understand how to be a strategic leader. And as I said, you're probably thinking, I'm just a student, I'm not a leader, how do I get there? But you are all leading something in your own way. Maybe it's leading a group project, maybe it's making a client understand your project brief. But to be a strategic leader of an organization, so I lead a design school, and I have many staff, and I have to look after the students, the staff. Today I had to justify my budget to the dean, to talk to the higher up people. And what makes someone a good leader is about thinking about the future. So today I had to present a budget to my dean, and I had to say, look, I want to come to Hanoi all the time because I love it so much, and I want to visit the students more and more. And she said, why should I give you money for that? So I had to show her the vision, you know. Strategic design is super important, and we're building this up. And in Southeast Asia, there's a huge need for this type of thing. So not only do I explain that this is something strategic in Australia, but I can see into the future, and I just met with lots of people at Design Week. So I have to give a vision to the dean so she can see beyond tomorrow or the day after, but 10 years down the track. I'm always trying to get people to think about 10 years down the track and how I can make things better. It's also about understanding yourself, right? So even when I was studying your age or younger, I thought I'm very shy and I am not the person that's going to be the speaker in the group. I'm not going to go up and I'm not going to present the brief because I just like to do the design work in the corner and make it look nice. But as I got to know myself and I got to get out of my comfort zone, so when I was finished with my design program, I went to the University of the United States. I'm from New York originally. I decided to go to London to do my master's degree, very far away and pretty scary. I was only in my early 20s, but it was super uncomfortable. I had to make all new friends, live in a massive city, but by doing that, I got a lot of confidence. I could do it. I survived. I didn't die in the street. And I made a whole new network of friends, a lot of them from all over the world, and some of them still my best friends today. So one of my best friends from that course is Singaporean. I just visit her, and we still keep in touch after all these years. But after I did that, then I worked out I can go even further. So when I finished my program, my master's degree, I worked as an interior designer there for a little bit. And then I got an opportunity to go teach design in China. At the time, I thought, okay, I've never been to China, I've never been to Asia, very scary, and my family's like, so scary, so different. But I took the opportunity, and I went and lived in Shanghai and taught design at a design school in Shanghai. And then again, got out of my comfort zone, learned a lot. So a lot of times it's about building yourself up, taking chance and challenging yourself, but also gaining confidence in your ideas, okay? In QT, what we do is help you connect to, because I'm so passionate about learning from other cultures and going to other places, we build in a lot of international experience. So recently, our students went to Thailand. They work with the Chulalongkorn University, and they work with all different industry briefs and industry partners. So you might be familiar with Line, the app Line. Do they have in Vietnam? Line? Oh, they don't. It's not cool here. Well, they got to work with lots of different social media partners, corporate partners, and they come up with new solutions for social change. So our students have to work with Thai students to come up with concepts together with a very complicated brief. So we always try to challenge you to get out of your comfort zone, work with people you might never have worked with before, and come up with new solutions. And through those experiences, that can be scary, you start to know yourself and know your strengths and get really confident about speaking about your ideas, okay? So grow yourself. So to become a leader, you have to understand yourself and grow yourself, get out of your comfort zone, do things that maybe feel scary to you, but once you get through them, you can go to the next step. So we ease you into this at QT. We get you in these situations where you have to do something quite challenging, But once you get through it, once you learn it, you will feel confident to continue to move forward. So I like to show you this one because everybody thinks, okay, the person that's the leader now, they're the best at everything, I shouldn't question them, and that only the leaders in control, they're the ones there, I bow down to them. But when we look at history in Rome, there were 77 emperors of Rome, and only 5 of them were good, okay, or considered good in history. So not all the leaders that are in control of something now are doing the best, and you can be a leader. But what you need to understand is the 5 good ones, why they think they were good, is they were really empathetic. They really understood people. They understood themselves. So one of the 5 good emperors of Rome is somebody called Marcus Aurelius. And he wrote a book called Meditations. And this book, he is doing all kinds of things before he becomes the emperor. And one of them is he has to lead lots of military campaigns. He has to go to these wars in far-flung places. They often have terrible sicknesses at the time. They have floods, they have famine, and he's living through all these things, very challenging circumstance. But every night he writes down in his diary his reflection about himself and what he's doing and what he could be doing better to help the people, the soldiers that he's under control, to get motivated. And the whole time he's trying to understand himself, understand his choices. And that book now is like hundreds of years old, but we still use it as a leadership tool because his insight into how he control himself in very difficult situation is helpful to understand how you can move forward regardless of what's going on and how you can use the challenging circumstances that you're under to move yourself forward, to make things better. What he was trying to do is like, how do I get better at this? Not like, I'm the best. So the leader that comes in and tells you, I'm the best at everything, they're not good leader. So even me, I've been teaching design and I've been a designer for like 20, 30 years. Okay, I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but I'm old compared to you guys, okay? But I never go into a classroom and say, I know more than you, okay? I don't know more than you guys about anything in Hanoi or anything about Vietnam. Okay, you know more than me. Your experience on the ground of what's happening day to day here in Hanoi far surpasses mine by 1,000%. And also, you know, I always work with the students. The tools of design are constantly changing, okay? You know, AI is here and everybody's scared of AI. Oh my God. But it's just a tool and we need to adapt and learn. But basically, come inside. To be a good leader, you need to gain trust of people. And that's what Marcus Aurelius is doing. He's gaining trust of people by trying to understand them and make their experience better all the time, and not trying to put himself above them, but always trying to understand the experience of the person he's leading. So if you want to be good at leading, even in your own team, in your own life, if you go out into the design field, is constantly be curious, question your choices, and try to gain that trust. Understand who you are in the world and understand how you can improve things daily. And not that you never reach the top. You are always learning. And when you understand that, then you will become the strategic leader. So here are the 3 key skills. There's many, many more skills, but I'll boil it down into the 3 key ones. So as I said, a vision and focus. So you always need to, as I said, look ahead and give people a vision, not a crazy one, but something aspirational, something to say that you're moving it forward and that's really actionable. But if you only give them, you know, like 2 seconds, 2 steps in front of them, like, okay, or, you know, you don't yourself have a vision, it's very hard for people to get on board. So you need to make that vision, focus on it, and get people on board with understanding your vision. You might have it in your head, and if you don't know how to articulate that vision, it's very difficult for other people to believe in it. You need to be adaptable. So we learned how to be adaptable during the pandemic. I'm sure, like here in Australia, all over the world, many crazy things happened. You had to study online. You couldn't go outside all the time like you like. lots of restrictions everywhere. In Australia, we were trapped inside our own cities and our own states. We couldn't, my family lives across the border in New South Wales, but I couldn't, it's only 2 hours drive, but I couldn't drive there. So there were lots of things that were out of our control, but we just had to adapt. And at QUT, we had to put all of our courses online, and all of our students have to rapidly change the way they study. For some students, that was okay. For other students, it was very challenging, particularly like in architecture and in industrial design, where they're building things with tools and we can't bring all the tools to their home. Fashion students, they don't all have industrial sewing machine at their house. So we had to quickly adapt. We had to put everything online. I have to bring my team into a room and tell them, I know that we're going to have to go online, but it's going to be okay. Let's work on it together. It's not scary if we work on it together. But if you freaked out and you went, oh my God, we have to do that, then everybody wouldn't want to do it. So it's learning how to adapt and also communicating to people how you can adapt in a calm way. And then never holding on to one thing. So like, you know, as I said, as designers, the tools that you learn today will dramatically change by the time you get into your career. So what I learned when I was studying graphic design ages ago completely changed. Although parts of it stayed the same. The process of learning a software tool has stayed the same. So learning how to use a tool to make something, desktop publishing tools, has stayed the same, but there's lots of new features. AI has features now in Photoshop they never had before. I used to have to, you know, spend a lot of time doing something that's super easy now. So effectively, the program, the way the tool exists, is the same. How to learn it is the same, but now there's so many more features. So AI is another tool that's going to speed up some of the boring bits of doing design. It will be able to rapidly iterate solutions for you that you can take to a client, but then you can refine them and personalize them and make customized design. So parts of the design process that used to be tedious will become faster. So even, I'm not that old as the time when they have to do photo typesetting. And recently I went to Japan. They have an amazing printmaking museum, and they showed the process of photo typesetting. So basically when you make a design, you layer up, you take a photo of every piece, then you layer it together, and then you put the type on top of it. And in Japanese, they have, you know, thousands of characters. It took forever to make anything, to make a magazine, okay? Now we can do it with this tiny computer. So the machines are huge, some of them the size of this room, that they used to have to do to make a simple newspaper brochure design. Now we can do it, you know, you can actually do it on your phone. So it's the same thing. We're still making newspaper brochure. We're still making things that people read, physical books, also digital books that, you know, use the same kind of navigational structure. And yet we boil it down to a tiny phone. So the process is, what we're actually trying to put out in the world is the same, but the software has advanced so much. So you need to be adaptable as a leader to understand that. It's always going to change, but if I'm stuck on like, I need to use this tool exactly the way I learned it, you're not going to go far. And then finally, I think the most important thing is to care. Think about the people that you're leading. Think about the project. Think about the person it's going to impact. Okay? We put out a lot of bad design. The world is full of awfully designed things, toxic chemicals, awful processes, terrible branding. I mean, you can go down the street anywhere, any city, and see some ugly, ugly design. But good design requires you understanding someone's experience with it and caring. Okay, so the same thing when you're leading a team is caring about the people, caring about the needs of the others before yourself. So Marcus Aurelius, when he's sitting in his tent in the middle of nowhere, a terrible war zone, and half of his colleagues all have some terrible pestilence, he's thinking about how he's going to make that better for them, how he's going to get them through, not himself. He's thinking, I need to get these soldiers out of here. I need to get them back motivated so that we can win the battle. So you're the one thinking about all the time others above yourself as a leader. So some design approaches. You may be familiar with some of these approaches. These are like the cornerstone of what we teach at QUT. So these are actually created by the Design Council. Back in like the early 2000s, they came up with like the double diamond, and they talked about the design thinking process. This was actually a process that designers always use to come up with ideas, but they just kind of formulated it into a system that now they said, actually, we could sell the way that we think about making something as itself a service to the community. And design thinking became huge. We have whole design consultancies that use design thinking, and many other areas like business have adopted these design thinking methodologies, and healthcare, a lot of other industries. But basically, it's coming with the idea that we never really know the problem. So the client comes to them, they say, I want this, but that's not actually what they want. They don't really know what they want. Okay, they think they might want something. So for instance, we had a client, and I'll talk about this in a minute, that came to us. They wanted a digital healthcare system, and they were like for a particularly challenging environment. And they said, we just want to make it digital because that'll save us money. We don't need to get the doctors in here, so just help us make it digital. But when we started talking to people in this environment, we realized that the problem was something different. Having a digital healthcare system would not change what the core of the problem was. The core of the problem was the people in the system didn't understand how to use the system. They didn't even understand they have access to parts of the system. And that wasn't going to be solved by just making an overlay of, it's digital now, just go do it online. Okay? So it took us empathizing, trying to understand the people using it, so the patients in that system, to work out what the actual problem was. So then we defined the problem is not that you don't have a e-health system. The problem is that the patient don't even understand that they can access this or use these services. So how do we work that out? How do we communicate to them that they can access this? Then we were able to come up with some ideas. So we threw out lots of different ideas about how we might help that patient understand that this is how they can access the system. And then we made a prototype. And then we went back to the patient and we tested it with them. So this part of the system, and this is sort of a similar representation of that. So you go into this messy space here. So you're sort of discovering, you're defining it, and you get down to this point where you're like, okay, now I know what the problem is. I can actually come up with some ideas. I can develop, define, and deliver a solution. But this is the messy part that a lot of people are uncomfortable with. So that's why I say you need to be a person that can deal with uncomfortable situations as a designer. Because we don't know here. We're like, I don't know what the solution is, and this person says they have an issue, and I'm talking to them, they're saying one thing, this person. So it's really messy. And a lot of times, a healthcare system, for instance, they just want a simple black and white. Like, we want to save money, just give us this is the problem. It costs too much money. But why is it costing too much money, right? How do we make it better for somebody? And humans all have different ways of responding and different behaviors. It's not linear. So this part is messy, but this is the part that the designers are particularly good at, like sitting with an uncomfortable situation and trying to understand it, and then you can come up with something that's more effective. And then that goes on to the idea of co-design. So we really believe in co-design, and that is when you're designing with all the stakeholders at once. So thinking of the patient in this experience, the hospital boss, the nurses, the doctors, and then we're here as a designer to bring these people together to talk to each other. So you think, well, why don't they talk to each other now? They don't have time. They're working in silos. Oftentimes, they never talk to each other. Like, the patient is afraid to tell the doctor what they want, so they just listen to the doctors. The nurses are afraid of the doctor as well, or their boss, so they don't say, okay, well, every time I'm going into the hospital, I have to jump over a bundle of cords, and it's dangerous. But they don't want to think that they have any agency to maybe move the cord to the side. So they just deal with the broken system because they don't want to talk to any of these people along the way. So we try to get them in a space where all that barrier is broken down, and we're like, let's work together to make this thing better. Let's involve everybody in this. And you help us come up with the solution. You have the knowledge on the ground. We're facilitating you to get it out to the right person to communicate and work together and prototype something new. And then we also believe in this process of interdisciplinary co-design. So back in the day, manufacturing was about an assembly line. So somebody puts a piece on it, then someone else puts another piece on it, and then it goes down and get another piece until the final object is all together. So these pieces and the people in the line, they're not talking to each other, they're just putting their one piece on until the end. In design, it's assumed, previously, that the designer just comes in after we put all the pieces on and they make it look beautiful. And it just looks nice, right? So now the beautiful thing is out there because we all put our piece in it in total isolation on the assembly line. But in reality, it's totally dysfunctional because none of the pieces talk to each other. So it looks beautiful, but as soon as I drive the car out of the showroom, it falls apart. All the pieces fall off because it wasn't well thought out. And it's not doing the thing that I want it to do, or it's just very difficult to drive and uncomfortable. It looks nice, but it's really uncomfortable. I can't see out the mirror well, et cetera, et cetera. So it's important that we're all part of the process from the ground up. We all get together. You don't just involve the designer at the end, you involve them at the very beginning, and we work together to design it at the same time, okay? And this is particularly true. I was talking to someone at a big bank in Australia called Commonwealth Bank. They're one of the biggest banks in all of Australia. And they have a IT department, and the person overseeing it was telling me that whenever we just design things in isolation, so a software engineer will look at the whole environment of digital banking, they'll put that together, they'll make it really functional, and then of course we have a cybersecurity team. They need to make sure that nobody hacks into it, so it's really safe. So we do all this stuff, and then obviously the people from the banking sector who understand their clients, the relationship managers, they come in and they tell them, yeah, you know, this is how our customers might use this. Then at the end, they used to just get the designer, the interface designer, to make it look nice. Guess what happens? It's awful, okay? Because the software engineer and the interaction designer did not talk to each other. So then they have to keep fixing it over and over and over because it's all broken, the navigation is very confusing, the colors are not right. And so they worked out, we need to involve the designer and all the stakeholders together at the beginning. Now that they're doing that, they make a much more efficient design. So that now that role they have in banking is the strategic designer that gets everybody together to make the app together, make the whole digital banking ecosystem function. Otherwise, they have to keep making it over and over, fixing little bugs all the time to make people want to use it. So that's a very quick overview of what we do in strategic design, but we don't have all day. I could talk to you all day, but you know, I think you have other things to do today. So strategic design requires new research and strategies, new engagement, new business models, one part, plus multidisciplinary capabilities, plus creativity combined, and then we have this nice ice cream cone. So there you go. So that's boiled down to a very simple concept, but yes, that's a high-level overview of what you can do in strategic design and why it's really relevant. It's like the most future-focused career at the moment. So I'll talk to you now that I've given you this kind of lecture, I'll give you some examples of some projects that we worked on and how that worked out. So we do a lot of work. We have our undergraduate program, our postgraduate coursework program that I'm talking about today, but we also have a PhD and master's program and a full research lab. So all of our academics, we're all research active, we all have our PhDs, and we all do research projects. Most of the time with our research students, and also we embed those projects into both the master's and the undergraduate courses. Found before we made this poster, they were telling us that like probably more than half the urine sample is completely tainted because people have done the urine test wrong. So they had made a poster themselves, but the poster is like full genitalia, okay? Steps of how to do this because it's all the sample is tainted. And because they couldn't work out how to do that, they just abandoned this project for a long time. So they brought us in and we're like, okay, how do we show people peeing without showing any genitalia? And it's quite difficult, okay? And also they said to us, we don't want you to make it any particular culture because Australia is multicultural. So sometimes someone will see a white person peeing and they don't think it's for them. So we want to make the person like a color that's not white, just blue or something like that. So although you think, okay, it's quite simple, everybody knows how to pee in a cup, they do not, okay? So we made this very like illustrative step-by-step thing. And with this poster, which was adopted all over the Queensland Health Service, and then actually subsequently someone from the United States came, they saw the toilet door poster, they said we want to adopt this for a US healthcare service. It helped improve the effectiveness of the urine sample by more than half. So now like only 20% is tainted because people actually following the steps. Okay, so those are the things that we do to improve outcome. Now, this is a project that is actually in this region that we've been running for a couple of years, where I was telling you we try to bring students outside their comfort zone to solve big problems. So this is a project we run in Malaysia and Singapore, and we take 100 students from Singapore, Malaysia, Taiwan, Dubai, not Vietnam yet, but maybe you guys can come too. If you come to QUT, you definitely come. And students go to all kinds of healthcare facilities all around Malaysia and Singapore, and they look at how wasteful they are. I mean, they're huge waste of carbon emissions, single-use plastics. Every time a doctor has a hospital going on, he'd take it off and throw it away. So there's so much trash associated with healthcare. But again, the doctors, there's so much about being sterile, being clean, particularly after the pandemic. There's so much waste in healthcare system. So with this project, we bring the students to these places and we work with the clinicians. We get people out from all of those places. So doctors from Dubai and pre-med students come with us, as well as we get designers from Thailand. We get design strategists from Singapore and Malaysia, and they come and talk to the students about this broad challenge. Then they come up with solutions to this. They work in multicultural, multidisciplinary teams. So the students are from nursing, pre-med, all areas of design, from architecture to fashion to viscom, and they have to make a solution in a week. So they all have to come up with a concept, and they have to pitch that concept to the industry panel at the end of it. So it's a really fantastic program, and over the 2 years we ran it, students have won multiple awards for these projects that they made with these teams. This year they won a UNESCO International Innovation Student Award for one of the projects on this, and they also got accepted into the Prototypes for Humanity, which takes only 100 student projects from all over the world. So thousands are submitted, and they got accepted into that exhibition. So again, another example how big, broad, challenging issue, we get students challenged to work together to solve those problems. So now I'm going to talk to you about the future career options. So where do our students go after they study at QUT, and what kind of jobs do they get? So there's a demand for education that equips people with strategic design. As you can see from all those projects, that's strategic design. That's looking at a big challenging thing, working out how design interventions can make it better, bringing all the stakeholders in. And from this, our graduates are working across a whole range of things. So they don't have to work just in an advertising agency as a designer or in a studio. They can get a job as the head of strategic design for like Commonwealth Bank. So we have students working in Qantas, in Deloitte, Vodafone, these are big telecom companies, News Corp, which is the major news provider for all over Australia. Suncorp is another big banking, a huge bank in Queensland and all over Australia. Adobe, I'm sure you guys are using Adobe software. So one of our graduates is working in the Adobe team in Sydney. So she's a strategic designer for Adobe. And then we have students who have gone to work at Marvel Studios in the United States. BMW, we have embedded partnership with BMW. Our students go off and you can do an internship with BMW, and we're working on a lot of strategic projects with them. Not necessarily about designing cars, but designing the whole digital ecosystem. So a car is so much about the experience of driving, but also in making efficiencies in their factories by doing digital twins of the factory. So using an interaction design solution, mapping the whole thing, making a digital environment that then helps them make the physical environment more effective and efficient. So that's just a range of some of the companies, Boeing, another airline industry, designing airplanes. So basically, as a strategic designer, you can go into any industry and you can communicate the value of design to help improve that ecosystem. So do you have any questions about this? And then I'm going to make you be strategic designers for the rest of this time. Any questions? Yes?
You talked about at some previous classes. You talked about in the design process, we have to renew the research strategies. And I used to intern in a company, and me and my friend and some of my friends, we realized that in Vietnam, in the moment right now, they do not focus in normal companies, not big corporations, just normal companies. They don't focus too much on research when they design. So I want to ask you about, can you define more clearly about research strategies for me, and how I can apply it in the normal design process?
So design research strategies. So strategies for design research, is that what you're asking? Okay, so in any process, when we got to the double diamond, the second bit is empathize and then define. That's where you do the research process. So again, in any research process, we would go through both a traditional and a qualitative and a quantitative process. So the qualitative process is actually talking to the end user, doing interviews, depending on the context. The quantitative, and then we could do some survey as well. We would do a literature review, so we would try to find as much information as we can from a broad survey of literature, journal articles, what people have done before in that space. Then we would synergize that together to try to work out what the actual problem was. So yeah, we have a specific design research process that we would work through. We also have a research degree, so you would learn through, if you wanted to do design research as a career, there is a pathway at QUT where you could do a master's by research, and the first bit of that is design research mastery. So you do 2 units in learning research strategy for design in that particular program. Good?
We learned that in design we have some methods, some methods, qualitative method or quantitative methods. So the new research strategies that when you say that, I think that we can, in my opinion, we can integrate them all, and I understand.
Yeah, it's design is mostly mixed methods when you do research. So it's not there's some fields they have very specific methodologies they use, but we often encourage mixed method research. And those design techniques are also techniques of research and design. So yeah. Any other questions before I make you be strategic designers? All right, you might have questions after I make you do this activity. Okay, so you're going to pretend, get into a headspace right now. You're here on this island. It looks really beautiful, right? But it's in the middle of nowhere and it's deserted, okay? So it might have been a shipwreck, I don't know, something happened and you're stuck on this island. And you can only bring one thing with you, okay? On this island, you can bring one thing, and it cannot be a person, and it cannot be an animal. Okay, there's already some animals out there on this island, but you can't bring your dog or cat with you, okay? And you can't bring your mom or dad with you or your best friend. So I want you to think about this. Now remember, it's a deserted island, so if you bring your iPhone, it might not have charge for a long time. Okay, so your digital technology, there might not be a tower. There's definitely no mobile phone tower on this island, okay? And there's no battery charger. So think about what you're going to bring. You just bring one thing. Now I'm going to get you to write that one thing down on a piece of paper. So if we can distribute the Post-it note. Yeah, just write on the sticky note the one thing you're going to bring on the island, okay? And you shouldn't have to think too hard. Just think about what would entertain you potentially or be useful for you, one thing on this island. Okay, one thing you're going to bring, just one. Okay, got it? Got your one thing? All right, hurry up, put it down. Shouldn't be thinking too much about this. Just one thing. I'm only going to give you like 1 more minute to do this. All right, everybody. Pens down. I'm going to count down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Put it down on paper, whatever you have, okay? All right. Got it? Those guys in the back, stop talking, write it down. Pens down. Okay. Done. You got your objects, right? Everybody has something down on their paper. Yep. Okay. All right. Now, listen closely because the next part is quite challenging. All right. So I want you to get in groups in the rows. So these guys are a group. The next row, you're a group. Etc., etc. Okay, so you're in a group. Actually, in the back, I'll split you in half. So, because there's more people sitting in the back. One row, group each row. Okay? So, what you're going to do next is work in your groups. All the things that you brought to the island, you have to use. Okay? So, you happen to find out that these other people are on the island too with you. Whoops. And they also have one thing. Okay? So I want you to take these objects, okay, pool them, work out what you got, and then you're going to use the objects to stay on the island and make a community or leave the island, okay, and make a product that helps you leave the island, okay? So you have two options. First, as a group, you need to decide, are you going to stay there or are you going to leave, okay? Then you have to prototype up a solution. So either if you're going to stay, how are you going to use these objects to entertain yourselves and make a community? And then if you're going to leave, what kind of object are you going to make to help you leave to get off the island? Okay? So you've got like 20 minutes to do this in a group. Okay? So you guys maybe get all together here. Maybe bring your table close. And then you guys all working together. And then you guys are a team. And you, actually maybe these two, okay? And you guys can work together. You guys work together in a row. Yeah, you guys, all right. You guys, a team here. You can be a team. You guys are all crammed in the back here. Wow. So maybe these guys could come, some of them can work up there. There are too many here. So, yeah. Yeah, come up to the front. And then maybe you guys just turn around and work with these guys. And you guys work with these two guys, okay?
Em di chuyển lên. Mình hiểu yêu cầu chưa? Mình hiểu yêu cầu của cô chưa? Có phải là tức là bây giờ mỗi một bạn ấy mỗi một cái item này mang theo đúng không? Ví dụ như bạn này mang theo này. Sau khi mang dao không? Mang dao của nhà. Các bạn sẽ vào các bạn quyết định xem là mình ở lại cái hòn đảo đấy hay mình sẽ đi. Mình sẽ tìm cách để rời khỏi cái hòn đảo này hay là tìm cách để ở lại cái hòn đảo đó. Nếu mà tìm cách ở lại thì tất cả những đồ của bạn mang theo này các bạn sẽ phải suy nghĩ xem mình có kế hoạch để có thể
Do you guys want to move there so you have more space? You're too close to each other. And you guys can work together here? Okay. I think they don't want to group away. They're too close to each other. Go to the front.
So 5 of them will be one group?
They can be, but they don't have any space to work. Like, that's why I'm saying, why don't they just sit down at the front?
Thực ra là tức là 5 bạn cũng được, nhưng mà bạn lên trên kia để cho có chỗ hoặc các bạn xoay cái bàn để vào dưới.
You have nowhere to like draw.
Bởi vì thế này thì không có chỗ nữa các bạn vẽ.
Or if they want to just sit your groups up, they can.
Em đúng rồi.
Okay, you have a music player, a ball, medication, a book about survival. That's good. And you have another book and another ball. Is that it? Okay, well, what are you going to make? Think about it.
We decide to stay on the island.
Stay. Okay, cool. So now you got to work out this community. Okay? So maybe some fun resort where you can play music and play basketball or something the whole time. What type of balls are there? Is it a handball? Is it a basketball? Maybe you have a lot of different types of balls and you can play like fun games with them. Okay. So it's like a sports camp on the island. But yeah, so make up what would this community be called? What are the activities? Like a resort maybe. So yeah, come up with a brand and now come up with like a plan for your community. How are you going to sell this to me? Yeah? So you have to use every object in there. Okay? So now come up with an idea for your community. Oh, you have opera glasses, a ball, a lighter, fishing rod. Good, you can fish. A comic book, a football, and a rubric. Okay. So, what are you guys going to do with all these things? You going to make a raft and get out, or are you going to stay? You're going to make some. You haven't figured out. Okay. So think about what you're going to do. You could make something interesting, or you could stay. You have a lighter, a knife, and a book? Is that it? What about these guys? What did they bring? Oh, okay, well, what would they bring? Yeah, but it's too late now, so what did you think initially? You have two guys too. They could have brought stuff, like a rope. Did you want to bring a rope? Yeah? Yeah, okay. He's bringing a rope. So you got a rope. And what would you bring?
Television.
A television? Well, you can't plug it in, man. But okay, you could use a television for something.
Yeah.
Work out what you can use it for now. So you got some interesting stuff.
Cần bút để vẽ không nhỉ?
Oh, you have a star. A book about survival skills.
Cái này sẽ là tay chân
Drawing set.
Sau đây là tân nổi con thuyền đấy. Đấy, ý tưởng hay không?
You have some Doraemon. You have a knife. Okay. So you have some cool stuff. What are you going to do with this? Stay or go?
No idea.
Yeah, okay. Come up with idea.
Argument happens right now.
Okay. Maybe write pro con, stay, go. You can write a list. Why should we stay? Why should we go? Oh, you got a guitar and a sketchbook, an MP3 player, a camera, a ball, and you have some fire and a bed. All right. Is it some interesting stuff? Have you decided what you're going to do? Stay or go?
Yes, we will study the island, and I think we will gonna design accommodation.
You like the
Community accommodation.
A community accommodation. Okay, cool. All right. Well, now you got to prototype it up. What's it going to look like? What's it called?
I don't know, but we just put the stuff into 3 options. Like this is for the 3 areas. Like 3 areas. This is for the live and
And cook.
this is for sport and company entertainment.
Oh, okay. Good. All right.
I think the camera will be the part of the entertainment.
Okay.
The walk, and this is entertainment, and this is for recording on the live for recording. Yes.
Live streaming your cool community. You don't have internet.
This is maybe useless now. We don't have the electric for that too.
It's useless, the camera, because you can't live stream.
This is useless too. We don't have electric.
You can use it until it runs out of... Yes.
She said this has a pen already.
Oh, okay. Has a pen inbuilt inside, so. But you can use these until the battery died, or you can work out a way to keep the battery going. Maybe there's a way to...
Battery is out of it, and we don't have any things to use that battery. Also, we can see the camera working.
Maybe you can work out a way to use, like, you can be super creative and think about how you could get like solar power to power up the battery. Maybe you could use the camera lens to like direct the sun to charge up the battery of the MP3 player. So now you can come up with like some crazy creative idea, like how you could get the battery moving. Or you can just use a camera as a regular camera, have a photo exhibition for this island. That's part of the entertainment. All right, think about it. Come up with something cool. What do you guys have? A knife, a shovel, a fire starter.
Yeah. A long time ago, the humans used the fire starter to cook food or to defend their lives from the white animal or something dangerous. So I think Fire.
Fire. Okay. You're gonna.
Be the necessary thing.
So you're gonna just make a big fire. Good. Keep going. What do you guys have? A knife, empty cups, a tarp, a rope, and a lighter. Okay. Oh, you're gonna make a raft.
Yes.
Like the image. Okay, you have to design the raft. What's it gonna look like?
Khó đấy. Đang phải nhiều
They're getting into it.
It's not a quiet room.
Sorry?
It's not a quiet room. So
No.
I think we already made it.
Yes. I think it's good. They're getting excited, so it's good.
Baby, ngôi mặt chili, I want to say.
Minutes? 2 more minutes? 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Good, you made a boat. All right, last ideas down on the page. Get your final ideas down. going to count 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pens down. Yay! Okay, so now I want one person from your group to volunteer to tell us about what you did. Did you stay or did you go? And what did you have to work with? Okay, do I have a volunteer group? Hands up. These volunteered here. All right. You volunteered. Okay. Oh, they can stand up where they are if they want. Oh, they can come up. They can come up. Yep.
Được có thế nào nhưng mà các bạn đã rất là dũng cảm đúng không, là trở thành nhóm đầu tiên phát triển làm việc lên đây. Vô tình ai phải giơ tay. Rồi, các cố lên. You comfortable to speaking in English? Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Hello, everyone.
Your group choose to stay or leave.
So basically, our group choose to stay.
Ooh.
So we built a house for our group to stay and entertain. The next thing we built is we use our eggs to chop tree to make our house, and we bring fishing rods to fishing, so to eat, and we also bring 2 balls. I don't know why, just to entertain and improve our health on the island. The next thing we bring in is our just to also entertain, and we use our lighter to make fire and to cook fish. We to survive. And the last thing we use is a boat, just for fishing too. So we use it by using eggs to using eggs. Create our boat so that we can move further to have
For more fishing.
More fishing to find more bigger fish.
Great.
So that's our plan to survive on that.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
So you have a raft, but you wanted to stay. Good job, guys. All right. So who's next? Who want to share their idea next? You guys. Okay.
Good morning, teacher. Good morning, everyone. So we choose escape the land, and from the unrelated to all my friends in the team, we make a sheep from the coconut tree, and we use the knife and the rope to make it. And about the color, no. We use the canvas in the pin set also. There's starlight to like lighting up when it's the dark. We use the color in the drawing set to show the signal.
Ah, okay.
To hope that someone can see it. And finally, the fruit we take it from the ice.
Okay, great.
Em có thể nói nhóm em là có những vận dụng gì để cho các bạn hình dung.
A book about survival skills, miraculous skills.
Still study in a very challenging situation.
Great. All right, thank you. They leave, and the other one stayed. Okay, we have time for one more. What group? You guys want to go? Okay, great. Who's going to talk?
Hello, teachers and everyone. We're going to talk about our community design. We choose to say because we cannot live with our option. We have something expression chose to entertain. To entertain, we have a textbook, a bed, file, MP3, guitar, a camera, and a roll. We decided to make a community accommodation or community housing. We separated into five areas: study space, bedroom, cooking area, and entertainment room, and sport area. In study space, we have my sketchbook because we cannot stop learning. Also great in the island, but still in the island we have many things to study. I think the intelligent person and the bedroom we cannot stop sleeping. To try to cook the fish that we catch, and the extended room that boost our tour and help our students to feel happy and to go to we have to connect connect the British nation and that's all.
Woo! Thank you. All right, I think we're running out of time. I want to hear all of your amazing solutions, but we don't have enough time. But hopefully that got you into the headspace of a very challenging situation and how to strategize your way out of it or stay. So, great job, everybody. Give yourself a hand of applause. So if you come to QUT, we do fun stuff like this all the time, but we challenge you more and more and more. So I think you have to go back to class, but I'm very impressed that you guys still want to stay studying even though you're on the desert island. So well done. I think you're all good students. And I hope that you come to Brisbane and come study with us, and we can do many more fun things together. So have a great rest of your day. You want to say anything?